QSO party contesting to the next level. To increase the enjoyment for state QSO party participants, to assist state QSO party contest organizers in providing quality contests, to promote increased state QSO party contesting activity. But it is not a contest on its own. It is instead a challenge overlay of existing state QSO party contests. Participants work each of the 45 SQPs as normal. After working any or all of the 45 contests, participants submit their logs to the individual party following the rules, but in addition, they enter the results for each contest via the 3830.com claimed scores website. SQP Challenge automatically aggregates the submitted 3830 results, calculating each participant's SQP score. Participants' SQP score is based on the number of QSOs worked times the number of QSO parties worked, with a minimum of 2 QSOs to consider it a valid work party. Participants can qualify for 5 award levels: bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and the highest level, diamond. The SQP challenge scores are displayed on the SQP challenge leaderboard in descending order based on the total score, and also displayed based on the total number of parties worked. These are the results from last year. I will now show you quickly a view of this year's current results. And this is the state QSOP challenge leaderboard live after 3 contests. And you can see that we have tabs on the top, so you can see by the number of QSO parties worked, by the QSO parties by score, by the number of QSOs that each person has made, by call sign. And you can also look at the results from last year's contest, the 2020 results by score for everyone who achieved at least a bronze level rating. This is a list of the state QSO parties that are included in the challenge. There are 45 parties. Some of them are individual states or Canadian provinces. Other parties, such as the New England QSO party and the 7th area party, are multiple states. These are all links that you can click on in the presentation for information on each of the parties. Why participate in the state QSO parties? Well, they're great if you're working on awards. They can help you get awards such as Worked All States. They give you a chance to work the rare U.S. counties for the USA County Award or for the County Challenge Award top list. Many parties are small enough that even new contesters have a chance to win a category. You can become a desired multiplier in your state's QSO party. It's a chance to be in demand like a rare DX station when you're operating in your own state's party, especially if you live in or travel to a rare county. It's a great activity for in-state local radio clubs to encourage on-air activities by all of its members. It's great for rovers, mobile, and portable ops. Rovers, mobiles, and portable ops can activate 1 or more counties during the contest. Many contests have separate awards for these categories. It's also very good for those who have home antenna restrictions. You can go out in the field and operate as a portable station and put up as large an antenna as you'd like. State QSO parties are friendly. The atmosphere is one of friendly, laid-back competition. It may be a chance to connect with old friends around the state. It also makes for great club competitions, both between club members and between local clubs. It's a great activity for new contesters. More laid-back atmosphere than many of the more high-pressure major contests. Both single sideband and CW options to work are available in the contest, and some contests have also added digital options using FT8 or FT4. They are shorter duration contests, typically anywhere from 4 to 16 hours in total length, and there are many opportunities throughout the year. There are state QSO parties in the challenge that start in February and end in October. Each of the state QSO parties has its own rules and is unique. They can have different activities and rules for each contest. Some have bonus stations that you can work. Others have extra activities such as working call signs to spell a word. Some contests have fun state-related prizes such as maple syrup from Vermont, smoked salmon from Washington, etc. And I have my small jar of Vermont maple syrup that I won in the contest a few years ago in my shack. How could the State QSOP Challenge help state parties? Well, hopefully it will increase the number of participants in state parties, increase the participants' total number of QSOs in the parties, encourage increased county activations and mobile operators. Last year, a number of operators traveled to different states outside their local state to operate as a rover in other states. To bring in a wider variety of participants from more U.S. states and DXCC entities for all the contest. To encourage very active contesters that are not usually state QSO party participants to get involved due to chances to advance in the SQP challenge. So, getting started in the SQP challenge. The first step you should do is read the state QSO party challenge rules. And again, this is an active link that you can get to those. Read the state QSO party frequently asked questions page. Find the included state QSO parties, which will be on the next slide here in a moment, and then find the rules for the individual contest. Because they go under the individual rules, you need to check each state's state contest rules, and you could do that on sites such as the WA7 BNM contest calendar or your favorite contesting calendar. This is a list of the schedule, and you notice we've broken it down by weekend group. So there are 21 weekend groups starting with February 6th, which was last weekend, and extending through October 17th, with the Illinois party being the last one. And so there's many opportunities to work these parties throughout the year. And again, these are active links so you can get more information on each of the parties by clicking on it. The next step is to get ready for the state QSO party. Plan your operations. If you're out of state, if the state QSO party is not in your state, you're typically going to be operating as an out-of-state competitor from your state. But if you're in the state that's having the QSO party, or if you choose to travel to the state for that QSO party, you have a couple decisions to make, and that's what type of entry you want to be. The most common type is a fixed home station, but there's also fixed and portable locations in a single county, mobile and rover contacts that may activate multiple counties. The fifth step is to get ready for the QSO party. Know your exchange. Now, if you're an out-of-state contestant, your exchange will be typically your state that you're in. If you're an in-state competitor, typically your exchange will be the county you're residing in or the counties you're traveling to if you're a rover. Install and configure contesting software. Although you can use paper logging for the contest, you will find it much easier if you're seriously interested in contesting to adapt one of the contest logging software. And there's many programs available. I've just listed two here that are very common, N1MM and N3FJP. There's also other programs available for Linux and Macintosh computers, and I will give you a link to some resources to get to those at the end of this presentation. Another big advantage of using computer software is it helps you detect the stations that you've already worked so that you don't have a problem with duplicate stations. So the next step is to actually start operating. And to operate, get on the radio. The bands that are used are typically the non-work bands. Some contests have 160, some do not, but most of them have 80 meters, 40 meters, 20 meters, 15, and 10 meters. Some parties also have 6 meters and 2 meter activity. But check the rules for the individual state party to make sure you know which bands are usable and which modes are usable for that contest. To find stations, many parties publish suggested frequencies of operation, and this is a great way to find out what frequencies to look on to primary find stations. Most parties allow all stations to use spotting networks such as the reverse beacon network, DX watch, DX clusters, etc. So you can find stations in that way. And this is a duplicate slide here, unfortunately. Some tips for newer contesters. Make sure you read and understand the contest rules beforehand. Know your exchange. Now, if you're not familiar with contest operations, one of the goals is to keep the QSOs as streamlined as possible. Send only what is required in the exchange, avoid excessive information, and repeat only the requested information if the other station asks you to repeat. Not all contesters will be on the suggested frequency, so to publish the suggested frequencies, especially on single sideband, you need to tune above and below those where stations spread out. And if it's a very busy QSO party, the area spread out will be very large. Knowing the some additional tips for new contesters. Knowing the CQing station's call sign before responding is very important. So listen until you're sure you know what the other station's call is. If you're calling CQ, make sure you give your call frequently so other stations can identify you. And if you're calling from out of state, make sure you specify that you're calling CQ only for stations in the state where the party's at. If you're calling from within the state, you may occasionally want to give your county so the states know what county you're calling from in the state. If you're a rover, it's especially important to give your new county in CQs periodically so stations know it's okay to work you again, because you can only work stations again when you go to a new band or if they move to a new county. So it's very important to know what county the station's in if it's a rover so that you know it's okay to work them again. Some additional tips for new contesters. For spotting information, there's a variety of DX clusters and other places available, and I have a link here for information on spotting sites. And some QSO parties actually have their own spotting page just for their QSO party. So check their website for details. Another hint is many rover and mobiles tend to operate on or near the same frequencies as they change counties and bands, etc. So, for example, station W1ABC may be operating on 35.38 80 meters, but when they move to 40 meters, they may be at 70.38, or on 20 meters, 14.38. Plus or minus QRM and activity on the frequencies that they have staked out. So that's a good way to find repeat operators on mobile because they'll tend to stay on the same frequency as they change counties. So after the contest is over, it's important that you do a couple things. First, submit your log to the sponsoring organization, whoever's sponsoring the party, and follow the information on their website on how to upload your log to them. Some have a contest robot where you click and upload the log. Others require you to send an email to a specific address with an attachment of your log. And make sure you're sending the right file. It is the file that usually has an extension of .log. It's the Cabrillo file, and you want to make sure you send that and not your ADIF file to the sponsors. After you're done submitting your log to your sponsor, you need to make sure that you follow up by posting your score to 3830.com. This is how the scores are gathered for the QSO Party Challenge. So it's important that even though you submitted your log to the contest sponsor, that you also post your score to the 3830 site. When you go to 3830, there will be no place to post for the SQP Challenge. Instead, you post to the specific QSO Party's link. So I will demonstrate that in a few moments here, but there's no special entry for the challenge needed. Information is automatically added to your SQP challenge score from your 3830 posting. So let's take a look at 3830 real quick here. When you look on the left, that is the place where you'll find the contest that you're submitting the score to. And this week there are no QSO parties, but let's just pretend that this was a QSO party. It's actually the Dutch party, which Peter is involved in this weekend, our moderator. But we would click on that and submit our score there. And this is what they look like. It's very similar. You put your information in here, and then you down at the bottom when you're all done, submit your score. It's very important to make sure you have the correct call sign, and if it's a multi-operator type of activity, make sure you have all the call signs there. Then under the home button again, you can view the results of your posting of 3830, and you can see that information there. There is a special spot down at the very bottom with the SQP challenge. And this will be the aggregated scores of all the stations that have submitted any state QSO party. So you notice the first station here has 3 parties, the second one only has 1 party they submitted to. So the scores are automatically aggregated there. You can view your aggregated SQP challenge score on the 3830 site as I just demonstrated, or on the SQP challenge leaderboard, which I demonstrated a little earlier. And then the final step is to increase your aggregated SQP challenge running score by entering more state QSO parties. So after you do one, do another one and keep repeating until you hopefully complete all 45. These are some resources available to you on contesting, maps, and propagation. And just give you a quick view. This is my website, K8ZT, and there's information here on contesting, including state and QSO parties, and a variety of different things on contesting software, and other things. As far as maps go, maps can be very helpful for the state QSO parties because they have the counties for each of the states. And I have a couple of links here. The NA0N multi-chase software that it goes along with N1MM for different state outlines, and then also state outline county maps, where you can simply pick the state you want and it'll display a county map for you that you can print out and have by your operating table. This is available for all the states. There's also another one available here, and we'll just pick another state here. And this one's pretty nice because you can click on the different counties and jump between them by using these tools on the side. So again, these are resources available on my website, k8zt.com. The State QSO Party Challenge team is made up of 6 people, and all their names and call signs are listed here. We'd also like to thank Bruce Horn, WA7BNM, the sponsor of the contest site. He does a lot of the programming for the 3830 site, and he created the tracker on the 3830 scores page to be able to give us information. If you have questions about the contest, the challenge, please contact Dave Edmonds, WN4AFP, at his email address, which is listed here, if you have any questions. You're also, please feel free to contact me at my email address if you have any questions about this presentation. I want to mention that the State QSO Party Challenge is sponsored by ICOM, and they provide the funds for trophies and for certificate generation for the State QSO Party Challenge. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a question and answer period here, but I want to express a few things before we start that. You can get a copy of this presentation at tiny.cc/SQPC, and that way you can click on all the resources in the presentation to be able to have them available. If you prefer to have a PDF as opposed to the live slideshow, you can click on this link and it will generate a PDF of today's slideshow. This is my contact information, k8zt@arl.net, and my website, www.k8zt.com. In addition, I have a link for tiny.cc/k8zt-p, where you can take a look at all the presentations I've done over the last year. And if your club or organization is interested in the presentation, I'm more than happy to do presentations for local clubs. So let's go back and we'll start our question and answer period. I'm going to go ahead and unshare my screen.
Anthony, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, I got 2 remarks and 1 question.
Okay.
One remark is from KWAGF. I hope to operate some CWQRS in the old Novus band, some 40 meter, for the VA QSO party as a station from the VA beach. This is for those who need QRS. I will also operate QRS CW on 20 meters.
And that's That is great information from KW4GF, and that's something that everyone should think about. The current novice, if there's any current novices still out there grandfathered under, and the technicians have privileges and they can work in these contests in the CW portions of the band. But it's important that stations are willing to put out some low speed, slower speed, which is QRS, CQs, so that they'll be comfortable in answering them. And again, if you're a technician class licensee, you have phone privileges on 10 meters, but the HF privileges on CW that are available give you a great chance for contesting. And you might think, well, I'm not that great with CW. Contest CW QSOs are very fast. Well, it's actually sort of an oxymoron, but a paradox, I should say. Even though they're going faster, you have plenty of time to listen to them and get their call sign before you reply to them. And it's not like a long rag chew where you have to copy a lot of information. All you need to do is simply copy the exchange that they give you and be able to send your exchange back to them. So it's a great area to get started with CW if you're just a technician class licensee.
Okay, there is a second remark. I hope to operate some CWQRS around 7.110 megahertz and 14.050 from VA Beach for the VA QSO party. This is for those who do better with slower speeds. Look for KW4GF. The 73 is from Ed. There's another question. Anthony, is there any move to get more CW QRS availability for these parties? May be helpful.
Well, I agree with that. It would be helpful. And I think what's happening is the numbers of entries for these parties has drastically increased over the last year with the combination of the pandemic, with a lot more people being on the air. And I would hope to guess that the QRP challenge has also increased the interest in these state QSO parties. We've seen that parties have went from 50 log entries to 500 log entries in the last couple of years, so a tenfold increase in some parties. So a lot of parties are seeing a lot more activity, and with increased activity, it causes stations to spread out a little bit further to operate. And also, a wise operator is always looking to increase the number of QSO totals. So it behooves them to spend some time in these areas sending some source speed QRS type of context. In other words, slow down CW speed. Also, it behooves them to spend time both on CW and phone. And to spend time in the general portion of the band, not just the extra class portion of the band. So these are great opportunities to increase the activity during the parties.
Okay. I have another question from Dick Strasburger.
Yes.
I don't see a call, but I assume he has one. Where on the 3830 do I find the SQP summary?
I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that real quick here for everyone. I'll show that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again.
Yeah, the call from Dick is N9EE.
So let's go ahead and share the screen again here, and let me move this out of the way. So for the SQP challenge on the 3830 site, let's go back to the homepage. On the 3830 site, on the left side of the contest that you're going to be putting your information in for, the current contest, but on the summaries page here, there is the SQP challenge at the bottom. And this will show you the results for everyone. Now, of course, they're listed by call sign. So if you want to find your call sign real quick, you can use this search tool in the upper right-hand corner. Put your call sign in, click the search button, and it will jump to your call sign on the page. Hopefully here. There we go. And you'll notice that I have the information for all the parties I've been in. Let me go back to that a second and show you what you can do if you just want to see your results in the State QSO Party Challenge. If you use your keyboard and do a Control F for Windows or Control F for Macintosh, type in your call sign, it will jump to that spot on the page where your call is at. So you can see right here, I could have scrolled down to it, but there's my call sign. And of course, with all the participants on 3830, your call sort of gets lost in the group here. On the State QSO Party Challenge page, I'm going to go to the page, go to their page here. This is the stateqsoparty.com page, and the rules and FAQ are here under this section. But on where it says contest calendar, you can see a contest calendar of all the parties with the times and dates and a link to each of the parties. So, for example, the Virginia party, which was brought up a little earlier, when you click on Virginia, it shows you the information for that party. If you go to the Ontario party, it'll again show you the information for that party. So again, these are all live links in the slide in the show here. I mean, in the slide. Also on the State QSO Party Challenge page, let me get back to the right page here. There's a section that says leaderboard. And when you go there and click on the leaderboard button and then click on the red leaderboard text, it will bring you out to the spreadsheet I demonstrated a little earlier, where you can click on each of the top tabs and see your scores based on this is the sorted by the number of parties and the number of QSOs. So the top group here is all the people that have 3 QSO parties they've worked in and the number of contacts they made in those. And then when we get down further, we'll see the people that have 2. You can also go into a list of scores by total score. So this is the total number of QSOs multiplied by the total number of QSO parties that they've qualified for gives them their cumulative score. So in this case, 1,351 contacts that were made by N0HJZ, and he's worked in 3 QSO parties, so he has a total cumulative score of 4,053 in the State QSO Party Challenge. And he's already qualified for the bronze level. Each of these levels, the bronze level is 5,000. Let me get the exact totals here. The bronze level is 5,000. The bronze level is 500 points. The silver level is 5,000 points. The gold level is 10,000 points. Platinum level 25,000, and diamond level 100,000 points. Awards are for participants in the SQP challenge are given based on those scores that they get. So again, when we're looking through this, you can also see the scores by QSO, so the total number of QSOs that the person's made. You can see those by call sign, again, just as you did on the 3830 site. They're listed in alphabetical order by the call sign. So you can see the people that have participated so far. And OM2VL last year participated in all 45. I think he participated in all 46 of the contests last year. So we have people that not just U.S. and Canadian stations. We also have people from around the world. And again, all that is available from the 3830 site and from the SQP Challenge webpage leaderboard.
Okay, Anthony, I have 2 new questions.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, there's one from Roderick, K0ROD. Thank you for the great presentation. What is a typical exchange for CW and SSB?
Yes, the typical exchange is quite often a signal report, but not always. And then the state for out-of-state contesters, or the county for in-state. So, for example, my county is Summit in Ohio. So in CW, I would do a 599 SUMMM. So it's a 4-letter abbreviation. Some state QSO parties use 3-letter abbreviations for the counties. So it's very important that you know the abbreviations for each of the counties and the names of the counties. In phone, I would say that your 59 Summit County, and that would be the information. Some parties also require additional information. The 2 most common things are some parties require a serial number. I'm pretty sure the California QSO party requires that. So you need to send a serial number starting with 1 and progressing through each contact. So if I'm working my 53rd contact, I would give my information, and then 53 is the number, and then the next will be 54, and so forth. The other
Okay.
thing that's common in some QSO parties is to also give your name. So last week in one of the QSO parties that was going on, part of the exchange was your first name of the operator.
Okay, I have a remark from Bill. The 3830 page, you can also sort by score and not just by call sign.
Yes, yes, that is correct. By just check do the little thing at the top.
Okay, then there is from John, Alpha Charlie 8 X-ray uniform. Not a question, but a comment. I work Marion County for the Ohio QSO party. Except for a couple rovers that may pass through, I'm usually the only operator that works this county. There has been several times I have had some nice pileups.
Yes, and that's very important to remember. Even though that you can't travel to some Caribbean island and become rare DX, you can become a rare multiplier in your state QSO party, especially if you pick a county that does not have much operation from it. And you can find this information out by looking at the number of operators in each of the counties. That's usually a good indicator. But a lot of the state QSO parties keep historical records of all the activity. So let me just give you a real quick view here. I'm going to jump to share the screen. I'm going to jump to the Ohio QSO party here, but let me get it up on my screen first. So when you go to the sites, let me get my share going here. When you go to the sites and look at the results from previous years, you can often see which counties have been active and which counties have not been. So it's a great way to figure out what categories you want to consider operating in next time. So by looking at the historical records for the information, it's a great way to find out which counties have been activated and which counties have not been activated. So again, going back to the state QSO party pages is a great way to find out what type of activity is going on. The other thing that happens is a lot of state QSO party sites will have a place where you can provide information on the site of your expected operations for rovers. So on the Ohio QSO party site, before the party, you'll see people that enter their plans to operate on various counties. And you just click on this link here and choose which counties you're going to operate in with your call sign. And that's a great way for people to know that you're going to be roving through those counties. So a great way to plan so you can be a rare and in desire county multiplier. Go ahead, Peter.
Yes, I can. Let me see. There is from Robert. He asked, his call is, by the way, Kilo Echo 8 Oscar Oscar Kilo. Please give an example of the info given during the contact and explain each section.
Yes, most of the contests require you to give it a signal report, but most contesters, it's common to just give a 5.9 on phone or a 5NN on CW. They don't really give a accurate signal report. There's no reason you have to. Then the next thing that would be given would be, if it's an in-state contester, would be the county abbreviation on CW or the county name on phone and or the abbreviation on phone. And again, so let me just give my call sign, my state as an example. I'm in Summit County, Sierra Uniform, Mike, Mike, India, Tango. So on CW, I would send 5NN SUMM, which is the county abbreviation. If I'm working on CW and I'm outside of the state, I might send 5NNOH, which would be the abbreviation for Ohio. If I'm on phone, I would do the same thing phonetically. I would say 59 Summit, Sierra Uniform, Mike, Mike. And you don't need to repeat it phonetically for each one, especially if you're busy, but make sure that people can get that information. So again, it's usually your county name if you're in the state. If you're out of the state, it would be the state that you're in. And as I said earlier, in some contests, they also require a serial number be sent or you give your name. Those are the most common things.
Okay, I have a remark from Ed again. Suggestion, don't fret if you don't get the point totals. I'm barefooting with an attic antenna. I just like having fun. That's what he's saying. Then I go with a question from David, this K4BBH. When working as an out of state, is it more effective to park and call CQ or to rove?
Well, David, it really comes down to a couple things. When you're working out of state, there's no reason. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Let's just use the. I think when he says the word rove, to move around on frequency, not to move around from county to county. So yes. So calling CQ is one effective way to get contacts. And if you have a good, strong signal and and you're a good, confident operator who feels comfortable calling CQ, it's probably the best way to increase the number of contacts you make. If you have a weaker signal or you're looking for multipliers, you would want to move around. That's often called searching and pouncing. So you would tune around and listen. Usually, a good mix of the two is the most effective thing, especially for contesters who don't necessarily have a super powerful station. So the whole idea in contesting as to whether to call CQ and control frequency or to move around and hunt for multipliers and other stations is a tactic that you'll have to determine based on your contesting abilities, your station's abilities, and a good mix of the two is probably necessary in any case to be effective. And there's a lot of good information on introducing to contesting available through the ARRR webinar series. I did a webinar a couple months back on an introduction to contesting, and that's available. And I also have a couple talks. Again, let me just share the screen to show this. On my presentation, this link, tiny.cc/K8ZT-P, will give you a listing of of a number of the presentations I've done over the last year. And there's one here, Introduction to Amateur Radio Contesting, classes that are coming up. But there's also this webinar that I did. You can go to the webinar and watch the video. And I don't have my audio loader right now, so you're not going to be able to hear it. Or you can go to the slideshow, which I just brought up here, and go through the slides for more information. So these are great introductions. If you're just getting started with contesting, I have a variety of resources available to you. So again, K8ZT, I'm sorry, tiny.cc/K8ZT-P will give you a link to all my presentations. Okay, there's I see, Peter, there's another comment here from Rich Westenberg, N0HJZ. And if you were paying attention a little earlier, he's the person who currently has the highest total in the State QSO Party Challenge. And he was one of the top 10 finishers last year. And he does a lot of mobiling in State QSO parties. And he's doing a presentation tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. For the Hamcation webinars on mobile operation. There is also other presentations at the webinars today and tomorrow on contesting. So I would suggest you take a look at the ones that are available. I know, for example, that one on mobile QSOing, QSO parties is going to be a good one to go to, and that's 10 a.m. tomorrow morning with Rich. I think he said 9, but it's actually 10 o'clock. And then there's also another one by Lee Finkel, who's talking about contesting, and just a couple other ones tomorrow. So look through the presentations that are available at the Hamcation webinar page for more information on those.
Well, Rick, there's no need to be worried because I will meet him tomorrow morning. So
very good. Yes, he thinks it's going to be 9 o'clock, but it's going to be 9 o'clock his time because I think he's in Minnesota. Yeah. So it may be his 9 o'clock, but it's going to be 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time for everyone else.
Yeah, and it is 4 p.m. our time, but that's not a problem. I will be there at 10 a.m. And so again, it's 9 a.m.
Again, if you have questions, please either add them to the Q&A screen or to the chat screen, and be happy to try and answer any other questions you might have. And again, I really strongly recommend, if you're a beginning operator, just take a look at the rules, get ready for the contest, and jump in and operate. As I said before, these are much lower pressure contests than things such as the CQ Worldwide or the ARRL sweepstakes. And the exchanges are much simpler than the sweepstakes, where you have to know about 5 different things for the exchange. It's simply going to be your state or your county, so it's a rather easy to do. And again, it's a friendly, relaxed atmosphere. So state QSO parties are a great place to start your contesting career in amateur radio.
Is it just a question from my end? Good to update regularly the N1NM program, so you are up to date and can see. Sometimes there are newer contests, and then they are in N1NM. Like there is recently a new European contest, and that's also an N1MN.
Yes, and if you're interested, if you've not used N1MM and you're interested, I have a 3-hour presentation that I did a couple months ago, and it's available as a slideshow and a video presentation on N1MM contest logging software. I also did a short presentation for the ARRL webinar series on contesting logging software. And N1MM is a free program. N3FJP is a very inexpensive program, so they're great tools to get you started, even if you're only going to do a little bit of contesting. They have a lot of tools, such as being able to have spotting information show up in the band map, and you can simply double click on a station, have it tune your radio to the right frequency, and be ready to make a contact.
Okay, I have a question here from Tom, W9TDP. Is it better to participate as an individual or as a club member?
Well, Tom, they're both very fun ways to do it. They're a little bit different. By operating as a club member, you get a chance, especially if you don't feel comfortable, you'll have support of the other members. I know our local radio club has some people that don't feel comfortable contesting on their own, but they're more than happy to participate in a joint operation. Some people don't feel comfortable logging while they're operating, so having 2 people and having a logger to go along with the contest there and then switching spots is a great way to go. So both of them are fun ways to do it. If you end up in different categories, most cases, if you have multiple people, it becomes a multi-operator situation. So you compete against other multi-operators. If you're operating as a single operator, you're competing just against other single operators. Another thing to be aware of is if you don't have a high power station with an amplifier and everything, there's different categories of operation. There's usually a high power category, a low power category, which is 100 watts or under, and a QRP category. So those are available. So there's multiple categories. There isn't just one winner of the contest. You only compete against people in the same categories as you in the contest. So those are all different ways to get involved. But multi-operating can be fun, and it can be a great way for someone just starting out to learn how to do things.
Okay, I get a remark from Dale Carey. Thank you, very informative. And then I have one from Dick Strasburger and 9EE again. Where do I find the 3 or 4 digit country I am in? Your QSO party doesn't identify it.
Okay, first of all, if you go to the state QSO party that you're interested in the state you're in, they will usually have a list of all the counties for that. So that's the first place I would look. So let's just go out here and let me bring up one of the counties, one of the parties, and I'll show you an example of what the rules look like. Just 1 second here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again.
Stuur eentje door naar... Oh, leuk.
So this is the Vermont QSO party, and it's got not a fairly short page of rules, but on there, you'll notice they have the Vermont counties listed. They use a 3-letter abbreviation for their counties. So you can see here that each of the counties has an abbreviation for it, and you can find this on almost every state QSO party page, which abbreviations are going to be. They're usually 3 or 4 characters. Some of the counties have, Delaware has 3 counties in it, so it's very simple. Whereas states such as Texas, Georgia, Ohio all have over 80 counties in them. and quite a few more in some of the in Texas, for example. So they usually have 4-letter abbreviations for them. In some of the parties, such as the NEQP, which is the New England QSO party, in May, they have multiple states, so their abbreviations include not only the county but also the state involved. So let's take a look at that real quick here. Same thing for the seventh area district call signs, where they have the abbreviations are include multiple states. So these are the states that are involved in the New England QSO party. Here's the county list. So they give a 3-letter abbreviation for the county followed by a 2-letter abbreviation for the state, because they have multiple states and some of them have counties that are the same type of abbreviation, so you'd be able to tell. So again, just go to the state QSO party that you're interested in and find the abbreviations for that. For the states, when you're outside of the count, when you're not in the QSO party state that's operating, like if let's say I'm working the Texas party and I'm in Ohio, it's just my state abbreviation. And they use the standard postal abbreviation. So the same thing you would use for postal abbreviation, IBOH for Ohio. So we have another. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here.
Yeah,
you have another question?
Yeah, I have some. Not a question, but a comment. I work Marion County for the Ohio QSO party. Except for a couple of rovers that may pass through, I'm usually the only operator that works this county. There has been several times I have some nice pileups. That's just a remark from John AC8XU. Then Robert Edan, please give an example of info giving during contact and explain each section.
Okay, we did that one. I already answered that one.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Then we have a question here from Dick Strasberg. He asked if I could look at the Wisconsin QSO party. So let me bring that up real quick here for.
Okay, go ahead. Yep. Where do I find the 3 or 4-digit county IMN? I'm QSO party doesn't identify. That's done already.
Yes, we did that one. Let me find the Wisconsin party here real quick, and I'll share my screen.
Yeah. Okay. Then Ron Martin, is it always necessary to submit logs separately for Logbook of the World and EQSL plus the contest site?
No, it is not necessary, but it's good etiquette. I would suggest you do that, because a lot of times the people that are working this contest are looking for a confirmation for a specific award. So by submitting your log to Logbook of the World, EQSL, those other sites, that gives those operators a chance to get that confirmation that they're looking for. So here's the Wisconsin site, and they have the rules and information here. Here's the rules. And just to give you an example, here's an example of them showing the suggested frequencies. And this is a contest that also uses VHF and UHF. So here's all the information for that. Here's the power levels. Here's the awards that they give. Notice they have higher awards for people both in state and out of state. They have awards for different categories. So all that is available in the rules for the Wisconsin party. I don't see the county abbreviation here, but I may have just missed it. Let me take a look here. Yeah, here it is, WIQP multiple list. Here's all the counties. So they're given not only the counties, but the state abbreviations and the Canadian province abbreviations. So it's a 3-letter abbreviation in Wisconsin. So if you're in Pierce County, for example, be PIE. Wood County be WOO, WOO. So again, each of the state QSO parties is unique in their operating rules, but they use very similar type of categories.
Okay. Then I have a question from Ken Castile. Was the question about country or county? I believe if a station calling from outside North America, the exchange uses DX.
That is correct.
Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct. If you're working from outside the United States, the abbreviation is simply DX. And if you don't actually need to send that, you just need to send your information, your 59 and DX. So with the specific country doesn't matter, because you don't multiply the number of countries. It's one DX would be one multiplier, and no matter how many different countries you work, it doesn't increase the number of multipliers.
Okay. And Patrick Russell, if in Europe, what do I exchange instead of the state's abbreviation?
You would just simply say DX.
That's simple.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about what country you're in. It's just DX.
Okay.
So it's not a great opportunity. You're not going to become a rare operator by being a DX station in a state QSO party, other than the fact that you're going to have a lot of fun and you're going to get a chance to work a lot of counties in the U.S. And one of the things that a lot of people in the U.S. don't realize is there's a lot of county hunters outside of the U.S. So there's a lot of DX stations that are trying to work counties all the time, and they realize that these state QSO parties are a great time to pick up the extra counties that they need. So there's a lot of interest in a rare county in a state when it's their state QSO party weekend.
Okay, then there is a comment from Ron Martin. Thank you for a very well prepared and presented seminar on contesting. That's what Ron said. Okay, that said, we are now 8 minutes before the hour. We have to close this nice presentation at 55 after the hour. So I invite you to have your final remarks to all the participants and for this nice webinar.
Well, thank you very much, Peter, for moderating. I really appreciate it. And I will be doing another presentation this afternoon at 3 p.m. on youth involvement in amateur radio. I will also be presenting at the QSO Today Expo coming up March 13th, and I'll also be at the HamCon group in Vermont coming up soon. So I'm available multiple places. And as I said earlier, if your club is interested in a presentation on any of the topics I do, I'm more than happy to do those. And now that you've heard my presentation, I hope you'll work me in the next QSO party that you get a chance to, or any contest. And thank you very much for getting interested in state QSO parties.
Okay, perfect. Brian says thank you. Mike Wisniewski, great job. And I enjoyed his presentation, KC0TAF. Daniel Columbus, great info, thanks, and 73s. Ken Castelli, thank you for taking time for presenting this great information on state QSO parties. And Charles Young, thanks for the excellent presentations. I can say it better than all these nice people. And again, well, there was one last one. Anthony, can we get a set of slides giant28@yahoo.com?
Yes, I'll put that link up on the screen here. This is how you get the slides. Again, it's tiny.cc/SQPC. And I'll leave that up on the screen.
Okay. Well, let me close with 3 remarks. Daryl Melcomb, thanks. KN4PSI. Corey Law, thanks, very good, 73s. And finally, Steve Rossman, KA2YRA. Yeah, thank you for the excellent content and presentation, and especially the links you shared. 73, Steve. Okay, that's all I have for today. Again, thank you, Anthony, and thank you all, everybody who participated in this nice webinar. And I sincerely hope that during next year's Hamcation, we can see you in person. I hope that. Have a nice day. And Anthony, again, thank you so much on behalf of the Hamcation organization. And I hope to see you in person next year.
Thank you, Peter. 73.
Okay. 73s from AI4KM.